welcome to the second episode of the Round Rabbit podcast. Today is Tuesday, September 13th. My name is Nancy, also known as Round Rabbit, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Round Rabbit. And you can also find my shop where I sell all of my handmade wares at roundrabbitextra.bigcartel.com. I have little bugs flying around my hair. They're not in my hair, they're just flying around my hair. Okay, that was a smooth intro, wasn't it? Oh, I had such high hopes. Looking at my notes, let's see. First, I want to thank everybody who watched my very first podcast last week. I got some really great feedback. It was wonderful. As of this moment, I have 42 subscribers. Yeah! So, that's really cool because I had none and now I have 42. Yeah, that's really fun. So it's been a really fun week getting feedback from everybody and hearing what people thought of it. I do know one thing. I'm pretty sure it was a little too long last time. I really can talk a lot, and I did. So I think that maybe a lot of people didn't make it to the end of the podcast, which is where I announced my giveaway, because not too many people entered my giveaway, but for those who did, your chances are pretty good. So I'm just going to get that right out of the way now. And what I did is I just wrote everybody's name down on a piece of paper because it was easy. There weren't too many. And I put them into my little bird planter. Get ready to put a plant in here, but for now, I've got some entries. So I'm just gonna draw one. I'm not gonna look. I'm not looking. I'm just randomly picking. Okay, got one. Let's see. The winner is Anne. Anne MS47 on Instagram. Anne, I believe Anne is a longtime customer of mine, of my beads. Here she is. So yeah, congratulations, Anne, and thank you so much for following me over to my new adventures. Even though I'm not making beads anymore, you have been a great customer, and I really appreciate that. So exciting. So I'm pretty sure I have your address already somewhere in my records. So, but I will contact you and just double check. But I will be sending out to you the shawl pin and stitch markers and button. So yay, congratulations to Anne. Time for a drink. It's fruit fly season here, and I don't know if, I'm sure this happens in other places, but when it's harvest time and just everything is ripe, these little flies come out of nowhere and they attack everything. So I have to keep a piece of paper over my wine this week. But this week I am drinking out of a beautiful cup by Jennifer Allen. Jennifer Allen Ceramics. I'm going to double check on her website because I quickly looked it up. And it didn't seem like it was there anymore. So I may have done something wrong. So I will find out, and I will put it down below here and let you know what the name of her website is. But Jennifer is just really an incredible and one of the most influential ceramic artists, I think, at this moment. I have taken a workshop with her. I feel like I said that last week, but I've taken a lot of workshops. And I've learned so much from her about surface decoration. She does a lot of amazing things with slip, which is liquid clay over the surface of more solid clay. But as you can see, like in her glazing, this is a drip of slip and glaze that she just leaves. Here's another drip going the other way. The things she does with underglazes, I just love it. It's wonderful stuff, beautiful stuff. In this cup, I am drinking a dry Riesling from another local winery. This one comes from Barnstormer Winery. It's on the west side of Seneca Lake in the Finger Lakes region of New York. And this is like the perfect early fall wine. It is crisp. It is bone dry, which I love. I'm not a big sweet fan, though it has its place. I'm not gonna refuse it. But this is just it's just so crisp, and there's this little bit of tart, and I love that. So Barnstormer Winery, owned by wonderful people, a wonderful person named Scott. They're a new winery. They've only been around, I think this might be their 3rd year, and they just have come out of the gate with fabulous wines, really great wines. So dry Riesling, that's what's happening today. That is good. Dang. Okay, let me look at my notes here. Oh, so I have to say this because today is the 30th anniversary of the airing of Pee-wee's Playhouse. I don't know about you, and it might just be me, but for me, that was just a pretty life-changing time. I am just the hugest Pee Wee Herman fan. Yeah, I love him. I have a Pee Wee Herman collection. I was gonna put it out. I was gonna line my couch with my Pee Wee Herman dolls. I did not because I realized they might be a little freakish to people. They're a little scary to some. So they're sitting upstairs on an antique church pew, looking awesome. But happy anniversary, Pee Wee, and your Playhouse. Love it. I'm just it makes me feel incredibly old that it's been 30 years because, I was a teenager when that came out. So that means that I'm a little bit older than that. Damn. Okay, so, sorry, trying to fix this. I can't tell if I'm straight or not, or if this picture is crooked, or if it's just me that's crooked. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so this past week, was a really chaotic and pretty darn stressful week. We're in the middle we're kind of moving. Well, we are moving, but we're building a house, and we had to be out of a place that we rent. It's kind of a complicated story. Anyway, since my husband and I have been together for the past over 5 years, he lived in one place, I live here, which is, it's an hour, they're an hour apart, but we always kept his place in Hector on Seneca Lake because we knew we were going to be moving there at some point. And we started building a house there last year, and it's going pretty slow because it kind of depends upon the sale of this house, which isn't really happening anytime soon. Anyway, our rental in Hector, we had to be out of it last week because there are new owners and they aren't interested in having renters. Blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you things you don't really need to know. So we basically had to get the basement of the new house livable because that's where we need to be. And it was pretty crazy, and thank God for our amazing friends in that community who came out and really helped us get that all together very quickly. It is not an ideal, great situation. It's not horrible, but it's not perfect. We're still trying to work out the water issue. We don't have a well as of yet. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but the ultimate goal is that I will be able to be there full time within the month. I'm gonna pack up my little bunnies. I have 2 house rabbits, and we're gonna make that our primary location, but I will be coming back here to work. So I don't know if it's better or worse. It's still gonna be chaotic. Anyway, you didn't come here to hear all of that. So I did not get a lot of knitting done last week, needless to say. So I can talk about what I'm wearing. Okay, maybe I need to stand up. This is something I made last summer. And of course, I didn't actually put it together till this summer because, why rush things? So yeah, as you can see, this is totally just a rectangle, 2 rectangles, right? That I mattress stitched together at the sides and at the shoulders. Just a little It's a cropped, very boxy, loose thing. Like I mentioned, I was a teenager in the 80s. Still very much a fan of certain styles from the 80s. You know, I'm like your parents who were stuck in the decade they were teenagers in. That's totally me. And I am unapologetic about it. I loved the 80s. So there. So, yeah, there's clearly no pattern for this. I just totally winged it. I just made 2 rectangles, sewed them together. The yarn is really interesting. I have quite a lot of this left. I bought, I don't know if it was a closeout or what the deal was with this yarn, but for some reason I have strangely huge amounts of it still. Anyway, this is Barocco Karma. Barocco Karma, right there. Gosh, there we go. Barocco Karma. The colorway, well, I thought there was a name of it, but it's number 3480, which is just this wonderful aqua. Love this color. And this is cotton. This is 100% cotton, and it's this really neat tape kind of netting that just turns into this tape yarn. It's considered a bulky weight. So I loomed this on the large loom that I showed you last week, if you happened to see that. And all I did is I just made 2 rectangles and slapped them together. And this is like the first day I've been able to wear it because I pieced it together at the beginning of summer. And like I mentioned before, the summer has just been insanely hot, and today is very lovely and cool. Though, you know, we keep getting teased with these cool days, and then the next day is back to just sheer hell, literally. Oh no, there's flies in my wine. Get out of there. Flies. So yeah, it's just 2 triangles put together. It's really comfortable. It's quite heavy, actually, for, you know, well, cotton can knit up pretty heavy. But I think it's going to be a great transition piece. It's also a great layering piece, clearly, which is, you know, I'm all about layering. I love it. And I love cropped, and I love baggy and square and boxy and all that. So I'm pretty happy with my strange little creation. Let me see, where did I put my notes? Okay. Look at me. I'm at under 15 minutes so far. I'm doing good. I'm not too chatty pants or anything. Okay, so what I did do in this last week, I wasn't totally unproductive in the crafting area. I did work on a couple squares for my Zoom Loom scrappy quilt that I'm working on. And I said that I would talk a little bit about my Zoom Loom last week. So this is the box that it comes in. It's just a little pin loom. It's a pin weaving loom. And here it is. So this is what it looks like. It's just got these pins all the way around it. Comes with a big long needle and directions on how to basically thread your yarn in and out and back and forth, and then you weave it in and out with this needle. I love this little loom. It's just really, I don't know, for me it's just a great way to use up scraps, especially it works best with a medium weight yarn, so you want to use a worsted. I mean, you can use lighter, but it is definitely a looser weave. Fingering weight I think is way too loose to use, so you could double it up, though that might make it might be a little complicated when you're weaving in and out. Though actually, now that I think about it, you might be able to get, I'm gonna have to try that. You might be able to get some pretty cool effects. You may be able to do a denser weave. Instead of acting as if the 2 strands are one, you could just, I'm gonna try this. Sorry, I'm just getting ideas. Anyway, so last week I showed you a little mini skein that I had wound into a ball that had come with my order from Kate Celine from the UK. And, oh my God, these flies. Y'all are gonna think I live in a barn or something. Kind of do. I got rabbits running around. So this is what the squares look like that I managed to weave from her beautiful yarn. Isn't that gorgeous, that color? Now this was a DK weight, I think. So it's a little looser. It's definitely a little bit of a looser weave than if you were to use a worsted weight. But I managed to get 3 squares out of that. I think I want to say that each square takes about 8 yards of yarn. In fact, I think it even says that. That's a really great thing about this. You can't at all see this, but on each corner it is numbered so you know where you're supposed to start winding it through. There's little arrows that tell you, and then on the back it says, so it makes a 4x4 square. Let's see. Yes, 8 yards. Takes 8 yards of yarn to make 1 square. So there you go. So I've had this for, I don't know, a couple years, year and a half. I got it for Christmas, going on 2 years ago. And I haven't been, when I first got it, I kind of went gung-ho with using up all my little odds and ends of yarn. And then this summer I tried to, catch up, because I have to say, there's nothing that thrills me more than being able to use every last scrap of yarn. It's the same with fabric. It's something that I love about working with clay, is that there is no waste. With clay, you can recycle everything and just keep using it until it's gone. And I kind of love that same idea with yarns and fabric. I save every little snippet. I use yarn and all kinds of things. I showed you some of my fabric cuffs that I've been making. Those are a great way to use up little pieces. I also needle felt with wool yarn. It's really fun, and it's a great way to get some great design details. I'll probably make some more things with that technique and show you that soon. But yeah, you can needle felt yarn. In fact, here's a little tip that I do for anyone who might be a needle felter or have those supplies laying around. I've started joining, when I have to join 2 pieces of yarn in a knitting project, instead of tying like one of those magic knots, or I was doing like a spit join, instead of those things now, I just needle felt the ends together, and it is just great. It is so strong. You do not see it. I just I fray the ends of each piece, and I just kind of wind them together, and then I get my needle felting needle out, and I just carefully poke until, and just keep turning it. And I do use there's a little spit involved just to help it along a little bit, but for the most part you just use your needle, and it's pretty awesome. I felt incredibly clever when I came up with that. So yeah, give it a try if you are so inclined. Let's see. So I can show you some of my squares. I mean, I've got a bunch, but it's going to take a lot. My intention with this is to make a quilt. So, here we have all different colors, and most of these were made with Noro yarn, which I talked about my little mad crush I have on Noro yarn. What's really fun about using Noro with the Zoom Loom is that each square will be a different color, because that seems to be about how long their colors last. Their gradations, whatever. They seem to last about 8 yards and then they change. So, I mean, 1 second, you have one color, and then you're going to morph into another color. And sometimes, they are drastically different. Look at these colors. This is all off of one skein of Noro. So it's just really fun. But like I said, so my ultimate goal is I'm going to piece these together. Now you can see that the edges end up being, they're scalloped. So I'm not entirely sure what method I'm going to use for piecing them together. I mean, you can do any number of things. I've seen people crochet them together. Of course, you could hand stitch them. You could sew them. You could use a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine, which might actually be what I do. I don't know, but all I do know is that once I do have them all together in a big, like a quilt top, I'm gonna buy a flannel sheet in the size that I've made. I don't think I'm gonna make this for my bed. It's not gonna be like a queen size blanket. I'm thinking maybe for a guest room. I have like a day bed that I just need like a throw on. So let's just say I buy a twin size flannel sheet as my backing fabric, and then just put quilt batting, and then I'm gonna lay the top down, and I will probably just do a tying method using yarn in the corner of each square to make a nice quilt. I think that's gonna be pretty cool. And for people that aren't really into it's cozy memories, I know I couldn't remember it last week. I had happy memory. I don't even know what I said. Who knows? Cozy memories. For anyone who's really not into that kind of a look, of course, that's using fingering weight yarn. Of course, you could use any weight yarn on that. But anyway, where am I going with this? Give this a try if you want to get rid of some scraps and do something different. And it's also just really fun to do a little weaving. I mean, it's definitely not, like, I don't know, it's not like super advanced weaving at all. It's like really simple. I don't know, it's just fun though. It's fun, it's very therapeutic, and I think it's gonna make a neat quilt in the end. I think it's gonna be a little while before I have that done, but yeah, I look forward to it. Okay, so I got a great little pattern book recently that I thought I would share with you. I'm a big fan of Rowan yarns and their pattern books that they put out. They are just really beautiful. The photography is great. I really like most of their designers quite a lot. Especially Martin Story. He's an English designer, and his style and designs are just so classic to me, and really something that you could make, and it's never going to go out of style. You're always going to love it. So I was like cruising around on Ravelry a little while ago, just kind of seeing what he has to offer lately. And I saw this really funky little kind of a cropped cardigan of sorts. It has a rolled hem. It's a funny little thing, and it's knit sideways, so your ribbing's going in a different direction. So I found the book that's in, and I got that. It's in Rowan, let's see, what's that called? Rowan Easy Aran Knits. You can see that. And it's beautiful, of course, and there are many patterns in here that I want to make, and that's why it is really, for me, it is really worth it to buy books like this, because I'm not just getting it for one pattern. I do believe there are several in here that somebody else could make. I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, I would like to be that person, but I could. If I live to be 900, I may get everything done that I would like to do. I don't know, though. I have big hopes. I guess, you got to be a dreamer, right? That's how. I've got a sneezing rabbit below me. She has really bad allergies, and I don't know if you can hear her sneezing, that poor little thing. She's so stinking cute. Okay, so here's a pattern. This is not the one that I was interested in, but isn't that lovely? I love that. Let me show you the one that I really like. Now this picture, I have to say, This is a really cute sweater, but why they needed to dress the model this way is beyond me, because it doesn't really, I just don't think it does much to highlight this design at all. But here's the sweater. Hopefully you can see that. I can't see if you can see that. So there she is. So it's just this cool little cropped little cardigan with rolled hem. I don't know. I just really dig that. I just think it's super cute. Very me. A layering piece. I could wear that with so many things. And when I first saw the pattern, I thought of it in red for some reason. I envisioned like a really nice pinky ruby red. Because I don't have really many clothes in that color or reds at all. But when I think about it, I have so much yarn. I have quite a lot of sweater quantities in my stash that I just should really use. And I just have to say, I wish I could go back in time and high five myself for hoarding as much yarn as I have. Because I mean, it's, when you can afford to just really load up, I totally recommend you do it, because there might be times in your life when things are a little leaner, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I need to not be spending money on yarn. And I'm so glad that I did when I could, because I can keep making stuff for a really, really long time. So yeah, good job, past me. I'm really proud of you. In fact, I think I'll drink to that, because that's, kudos. So the thing is, though, is I don't have any red, which is what I had pictured for this sweater. I was kind of quickly looking through my stash this morning, and everything, I apparently have been on a real teal kick for quite a while, because I have a lot of yarn in that color. I showed you last time my Rhinebeck sleeves that are a deep teal color. I have a similar version of that color in a tweed. I'm making a brioche scarf right now, which I'll probably show you next week, also in teal. And it's not intentional. It just seems to happen. And what can I do? I like it, but I don't really want an entirely teal wardrobe. So I don't know. Out of the yarn I have that is enough for a sweater, I have, what else do I have? Quite a bit. I have a lot of multicolored yarn, like Noro type yarn. Because when I first discovered Noro, I did go a tad bit crazy. And I don't know that I want to see this sweater, although it could be interesting because you are knitting it sideways, so the stripes, the color changes would be going in a different direction. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look back through things, but I'm sure I have something that I can use. I'm not gonna buy any yarn for this. You heard it here first, folks. I don't know if I can, I don't know. I hope I can do it. Okay, let's see. I showed you the Rowan, but you know what? I should show you a couple more patterns in here just real quick, because you might want to buy this book. It is beautiful. Here's a man's sweater that is quite lovely. Martin Story does design very well for men, probably because he is one. This is beautiful. Look at this. Hopefully you can see that. Really lovely texture happening in that. Yeah, and these all use an Aran weight yarn, which means it's going to be a pretty quick knit for someone who is not me. And just nice and woolly and chunky and perfect for this fall weather that we're having today. The weather we're going to have tomorrow is probably not going to be the same. Probably back in the 90s. Who knows? Okay. All right, so I guess I'll move on to what I've been sewing. I did get one thing sewn this past week. So last week I talked about dress number 1 by Sonia Phillip. I've moved on from dress number 1. I'm now on to tunic number 1. Where's that pattern? Here we are. Tunic number 1. Ta-da! Another really simple pattern that is bringing me stupid amounts of pleasure. Yeah, so once again, Sonia's created this really simple pattern. In fact, I think that this is a faster sew than dress number 1, even though dress number 1 doesn't have sleeves. You do French seams, or I did French seams on dress number 1s, which takes a little, it's like sewing everything twice, but it is a lovely finishing touch. If you have a serger, of course, you can just serge your seams. But this pattern, you can't do French seams on because of the way it's constructed. So I used my pinking shears, which I really loved pink. Sounds really weird. So I pinked it, but it goes together really, really quick. You're only doing a bias binding on the neckline, and I used bias that I had made before, so I didn't have the time involved in making that. But yeah, it's just another fabulous staple. So I can show you, this is the first one that I made. It looks huge on here. But I'm not actually that big. But yeah, so isn't this fabric just lovely? Look at that. I love this fabric. I'm just gonna fill my screen with it. Okay, so dropped something. Yeah, so this one, I did not put a pocket on it, which, may or may not change. If I figure out a nice contrasting fabric I want to stick on there, I might do it, but I do like it just like this because I think this fabric is so lovely. But yeah, so you can just see, and this is a longer length. There are 2 lengths to make in this. This is a longer length, which falls probably right at my hip line. And then there's a cropped version that I'm totally going to make because it's cropped, and I love that. So yeah, so I used some purple batik binding that I had already made before. Yeah, so I didn't make this one this week. I made this a couple weeks ago, but this week in fact, I just finished this morning. Let's see, here's another one. So here it is. I put a little pocket on this one. Oh my gosh, can I figure out the camera? Yeah, so I put a cool little batik pocket on there, a little contrasting. This is a lovely batik fabric. I was gonna wear this today, but I thought it actually might confuse people. It's a little bit busy. I don't know. Might just make myself dizzy, I don't know. But yeah, someday I'm gonna figure out which side I should be holding things on. So here is this tunic. Love this pattern. Another great pattern. I put some butterfly bias tape on there. And yeah, I want to work my way through all her patterns. This comes from a series that she did called 100 Acts of Sewing, where I shouldn't probably talk about it because I don't know the exact details, but she made a different piece of clothing, I believe. It's not every day, but I think she made 100 different pieces of clothing in a year. I could be so way off on this. But anyway, she has released some of those as patterns. So that's where dress number 1 comes from. And this is tunic number 1. I really want to get dress number 2 pattern, which is essentially the same thing, but with sleeves, longer sleeves. There's a pants pattern and a skirt pattern, which I also require. And I have a rabbit. I thought that just lay down, Finch. So I'm sitting in a spot where one of the treat jars for my bunnies is located, and they know this. So I tried to appease them earlier by giving them a lot of greens and some carrots. And usually this is nap time for them. But I have a little bunny now staring at me, and I'm gonna try to ignore her, but I mean, you can't ignore a bunny because they're so cute. So, oh, she's adorable. But I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be strong. Let's see, that may in fact be it for me today, and I've gone over half an hour, but once I edit this, because there were quite a few strange little moments that need to come out, I might actually come in at a half an hour, which would be pretty good. And I feel like I've totally forgotten some things, but I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to end today by mentioning a few podcasts that I have recently discovered and really, really enjoy. The first one is the Mean Girls podcast with Rebecca and Stephanie. And right, did I get those names right? I did. I'm horrible with names, by the way. And it doesn't mean anything other than that. I'm just horrible with names. I mean, I call my good friends by the wrong names all the time. So the first podcast is The Mean Girls with Rebecca and Stephanie. My friend Lorelai recommended them a little while ago, so I checked them out, and I love these two sisters. They are so fun and real and not trying to be anything. They're just themselves. They drink energy drinks, and they're so funny, and I think that they should come visit me in New York, and we could be mean girls together. I'm a nice mean girl though, but they are too. They're really nice. They're not mean at all. Don't be afraid. The second podcast I'd like to mention is the Stranded podcast with Amy. She is in the UK. She's also a yarn dyer. I believe it's Stranded Yarn Dye Works, maybe. Sorry, Amy. I will put the proper information down below. She is just a lot of fun to watch, and I just enjoy her. She's like a knitting machine. She knits like insane amounts of things, something that I just can't really identify with. But she is awesome, and you need to check her out. She's just really a lot of fun. Let's see. The last one I'd like to mention is Once Upon a Corgi with Gabby. She is also an indie yarn dyer. I believe her Etsy shop is called Upon a Corgi. Her podcast is a lot of fun. She is co-hosted with two corgis that are they're just funny little creatures. I mean, who doesn't love a corgi? They're just, what is a corgi? It's like I don't know. It's like they're walking downhill all the time. Their back legs are higher than their front legs, and I don't know. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, check out Gabby. She's a lot of fun. I have gotten a lot of fun tips from her. She was wearing a dress a few podcasts ago that I just loved, and she mentioned the pattern, and I'm hoping to make that soon. So thank you, Gabby, for that little tip. So I guess that's going to do it for me today. I somehow curbed my talkiness down to a little bit. I definitely am forgetting some things. I definitely wanted to thank everybody who supported my first podcast. That was great. I hope people come back. I know that there's, the second podcast is, you got to lure them back in. So I hope you've all come back. I hope there's new people watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you so desire, because that would just make me so happy. And I think that's going to do it for me. So I will see you next week. If you want to follow me on Instagram and Ravelry, you can find me as Round Rabbit. And if you want to check out my shop, you can find that as roundrabbitextra.bigcartel.com. And I think that's going to do it for me. So I'll see you later. Bye-bye.